basically saying that the kids are not safe around Iman. She said Iman be smoking weed around the kids and be forgetting to feed them. One of the wildest parts of the allegations is Teyana says that Iman put the kids in a rideshare in Chicago and had them dropped off at the United Center Arena alone while he had a private driver drop them off.
No one saw it coming. The entire courtroom fell silent when Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert's daughter took the stand. In a surprising twist, this little girl spoke in front of her parents, and her words left everyone in shock. Iman, who has been fighting to gain full custody of their children, went pale the instant she began to talk. What she said made everyone stop and listen. Suddenly, the focus shifted away from legal technicalities and straight to her heartfelt truth. Eyewitnesses say that when the judge called their daughter to testify, the room went completely still. Even Iman looked tense. He appeared to be holding his breath. The girl walked to the stand with a calm determination that you rarely see in someone so young. Court officers stood quietly nearby, understanding how serious her testimony might be. Some lawyers leaned forward, eager to hear every single word. This wasn't a scripted tactic. It was a child finally getting a chance to share her side. As she began, you could feel the energy change. She said, "Mom makes sure I'm okay, even when she's feeling sad." Those simple words struck like a thunderbolt. The gallery seemed to hold its breath. Even Iman's lawyers exchanged worried glances. Their previous argument had been that their daughter was too emotionally fragile to live with Teyana. Now, in a single sentence, she was directly challenging that claim. The little girl's voice was so honest and raw that no one in the court could ignore her pain. After hearing her speak, analysts say it became clear this was more than just a legal battle. It was deeply personal. Iman stood frozen as the truth poured out. One court reporter later wrote online that you could have heard a pin drop. Iman looked like he'd seen a ghost. He was pale and silent, as if he was fighting to keep his emotions in check. His attorney whispered in his ear, trying to refocus him, but his stillness only drew more attention. Facing an ex in court is one thing. Facing your own child's unfiltered experience is something entirely different. Teyana's reaction to her daughter's testimony was powerfully genuine. As her daughter spoke, Teyana wiped away tears. At one point, she placed her hand over her heart, clearly moved by her child's courage. Friends sitting nearby also teared up. To them, this hearing wasn't simply about custody. It was a mother's entire identity on trial. Listening to her daughter validate the safety and care she provided felt like vindication. It was the moment Teyana had worked so hard to reach, proving she truly looked out for her children. Iman's attorneys quickly tried to shift the narrative when their daughter began describing life at home. They objected loudly and claimed that no child should have to speak about her parents' private arguments in public. Their point was that discussing adult conflicts in front of a young witness could be harmful. However, the judge did not agree. She said it was vital to understand the emotional context of the child's life. The court needed to know what her daily reality had been like. That decision marked a turning point. In allowing these statements, the judge opened a window into a private world Iman and Teyana had carefully hidden before. As the girl continued, her sincerity became even more apparent. She didn't exaggerate or act. She simply spoke from the heart. With each detail, it grew clearer why Iman's team had tried so hard to block her testimony. Their objections only served to highlight the very things they feared would come out. Legal experts following the hearing said that, while those objections might have been technically valid, they drew unwanted attention to Iman's side. It looked as though they were desperately trying to silence the one person who truly understood what home felt like. One of the most powerful moments came when their daughter said, "Mom's friend is really nice to me. He makes me feel safe." Though she didn't name Aaron Pierre directly, everyone understood who she meant. That single line carried immense weight. The entire room seemed to lean in as she spoke. Some people glanced at Aaron, who had quietly taken a seat in the back. Others looked toward Iman, who began shifting uncomfortably in his chair. That simple statement cut through the legal jargon to reveal a deeper truth. Aaron's presence in their lives was more than a mere rebound. He provided genuine comfort to the children. For those in the courtroom, it was a moment that spoke volumes. Aaron had not testified, nor had he made any dramatic statement. He merely watched from the back of the room, his gaze fixed on Teyana and their daughter. Observers noted his calm stance and respectful demeanor. He didn't seek attention or try to influence the proceedings. Instead, he focused on Teyana, offering silent support. Reporters described him as focused and grounded, clearly there to stand by her, not to steal any spotlight. Meanwhile, Iman's side became a study in tension. His lawyers looked uneasy as the girl spoke. The contrast between Iman's visible distress and Aaron's calm presence was stark. As the hearing drew to a close, Aaron quietly left through a side exit to avoid the media frenzy. He didn't speak to reporters or linger in the hall. Though he left quietly, the silence of his departure spoke louder than any statement could have. His restrained exit seemed to reinforce the child's testimony. He was the safe, stabilizing force in that household. Once the hearing ended, many in the gallery whispered to one another, wondering how this moment would affect public opinion. Some saw it as confirmation that their daughter's well-being was best served with Teyana and Aaron. Others believed it would sway the court's final decision on custody. No matter the legal outcome, everyone agreed that the child's voice had changed the entire dynamic. Back in Teyana's defense, her supporters felt vindicated. They knew she had struggled, privately for years. Her lawsuit had detailed emotional abuse, jealousy, and manipulation by Iman. She'd tried to shield her children from that storm. Now, with her daughter's words, it was as though the full truth was finally out. For Teyana, this was not just about winning custody. It was about proving that her dedication to her children went beyond the public image. Her daughter's courage had shattered years of speculation and doubt. Iman, on the other hand, faced a new reality. His effort to show that Teyana was unfit to parent had backfired. Instead of painting her as unstable, he had revealed his own vulnerabilities. His repeated attempts to lower child support were also called into question once the public saw how lavishly he lived. Witnesses knew that if he struggled to provide for his children after paying receipts showing his extravagant lifestyle, his motives for custody now appeared more about control and less about genuine care. Friends of Teyana immediately took to social media, praising her daughter's bravery. Posts poured in highlighting the moment as a major victory for truth and transparency. Many noted that children rarely get a chance to speak so openly in such a formal setting. They celebrated the girl's composure and honesty, calling it a reminder that children's voices deserve respect and attention, even among adults in expensive suits and legal briefs. Legal analysts writing afterward emphasized how rare it is for judges to allow such emotional testimony from a minor. They noted that, while objections usually protect children from adult disputes, this judge recognized that hearing the child's own experience was crucial. It wasn't simply a tactical win for Teyana, it was a philosophical statement that a child's perspective matters deeply in family law. The judge's ruling to let parts of the testimony continue helped bring to light new questions about Iman's motivations. Was he truly fighting for his daughter's best interests, or was he using custody to exact revenge on Teyana? The girl's mentioning of Aaron suggested that Iman's discomfort might be tied to jealousy and fear of losing his role in their kids' lives, rather than any real concern over their welfare. As the dust settled, most agreed that this appearance would linger in everyone's minds. It wasn't just a fleeting headline, it felt like a turning point in their story. For the little girl, stepping into that court and speaking honestly was a moment of immense courage. She showed the power that a child's words can have, transforming legal tactics into a deeply human moment that shifted how both parents were Viewed. Though the case is far from over, one thing is certain: the child's testimony changed the conversation. Now, people won't just focus on press statements or legal filings. They will remember her quiet seriousness, her unwavering honesty, and the single line about feeling safe with her mother's friend. That line alone has touched hearts and raised important questions about what matters most in a custody battle: a child's sense of security and well-being. So now, we must wait to see how the judge will weigh this new testimony. But one truth already feels clear: that young child's voice carried the weight of her lived experience and will continue to echo in every decision made in this story. You could say that her small footsteps on the stand have left a giant imprint on the road ahead for both Teyana and Iman. Aaron was quietly praised by fans after showing up to support Teyana during her court hearing. People online admired how calm and respectful he was, with many calling his presence mature and exactly what Teyana needed in such a stressful time. In a case filled with drama and public attention, Aaron's quiet support stood out. He didn't try to steal the spotlight or make the moment about himself. He simply sat in the back and showed up for someone he clearly cares about. To many, that said more than words ever could. When word got out that Teyana and Iman's daughter had taken the stand, fans rushed to social media to show their love. Hashtags like Tronny Brave Queen and Protect Black Girls started trending. People were amazed by the girl's courage, especially considering how young she is. Videos of supporters outside the courthouse, holding signs and cheering her on, spread across TikTok and X. Most praised Teyana for raising a daughter who could speak so clearly and stand so strong. However, not everyone agreed. Some from Iman's side claimed the girl was coached, saying no child that age could speak that well without help. But Teyana's team insisted she chose to speak on her own and was never pushed.